Hello everybody and welcome back. If you've watched the first video of Balls and Bayonets, or should I say the bullshit of Balls and Bayonets, let me go ahead and explain how we got to where this starts from. Basically, everybody ends up at the tavern. My roommate, as the dwarf barbarian, decides he's going to fight with everybody in the tavern and kills most of them, so the whole party ends up in jail. I, meanwhile, get screwed over at a military encampment and have no other choice but to go bail them out. Once I finally get out of that situation, and takes me 2 to 3 days to get to the tavern and town where everybody is supposed to meet up, where the party was planned to meet up. Based on everything, I already feel like we're in a bad place. So to continue on from there, basically, the tavern owner, I guess, a female half-orc, decides to tell me how the place got destroyed, which was basically a drunk dwarf got super mad and decided he wanted to fight. Well, one person stepped up to challenge him. It made him even madder, and basically he went on from there, beating the guy senseless. Well, the quicker version is he started beating the guy so badly that somebody else stepped in, and of course, he turned around and beat the crap out of him. Well, in doing that, that angered that guy's friend, who decided to attack him as well. And again, he gets the crap beaten out of him. And this goes on and on and on and on until basically the whole tavern's cleared out, except for the party members and the tavern owner, who is sitting there watching this whole thing, praying that the guards get there quick enough, because it's very loud in there and they make it very obvious that there's something going on. So, yeah, that's where we are now. Basically, I go through this whole stealth ordeal to try and get through the town, to find the jail in the first place, which is made all the more difficult by the DM because everybody I ask seems to be quite literally the most simple individual I have ever seen in my life. And I've met some pretty dense human beings IRL, and I guarantee that there is no way anybody as stupid as the people in the town were supposed to be could be alive. I'm talking can't figure out how to breathe on their own kind of stupid. Okay? And I don't mean mentally handicapped or anything like that. I mean just straight up stupid, which is kind of throwing me off for a while, I'll admit, but hey, whatever. It's the 90s. I don't know. It wasn't the 90s. This is only a few years ago. So anyway, I finally managed to figure out where the jail is, only because the DM had to apparently paint a big sign that said, "This is the jail" on the map. Because, I knew where the jail was IRL, but my character was having such trouble finding it because, very bad perception checks. And stupid, very, very stupid townspeople that have lived in that town their entire lives, but I've never seen the jail, really. I've been here for almost 35 years as a friend of a friend who let me borrow his house. He died in the war, but he let me stay. He told me he'd let me stay if anything happened to him, so I've been living here ever since. I've nary seen the jail around. None of it. Great. Fantastic. So the DM decides to look at me and says, "Are you that stupid? The jail is right here." I get into a small altercation with the DM IRL and tell him, "No, dude, I know exactly where the jail is on the map you've sketched out. It's pretty obvious where the jail is, considering as it is the largest building on the map, next to, in comparison only, the mayor's home." Which, fine, makes sense. Except, somehow, the people in the town that have lived there their entire lives have yet to figure out or see this enormous building with bars, guards, and what can only be described as a magic fence around it to keep keep prisoners from escaping. Yet somehow, not one. Ugh, sorry, I trail. I'm trying to work on that. But moving on. So I finally get in, I finally find the jail, roll a charisma check on one of the guards, and of course, he's cool with it. He rolls a deception, we rolled the deception check. I succeed. We move on. He takes me to one of them, and I ask basic questions like, have you seen anything that might help us or anything like that? Because the guard seems to trust me way too well. But I'm not complaining because this was oddly suspicious given the fact that the guard and everybody else in that universe seemed to either be stupid or dense as a friggin' boulder or out to kill me. I'm happier for the former. But basically, the quick version of this story is that I break them out of jail. There's this whole giant combat scene of explosions, and D&D Michael Bay would have been proud. I mean, he probably would have got a little bit of a D20 chubby. I don't know how else to describe that, but that's the only way I can think to describe this. So whatever, magic spells being slung everywhere, guards chasing us, we're on the way out, and one of us notices a ladder to go up the side of a building. Well, of course, since we're running from the guards, we round the corner and immediately take it as quick as possible because we literally saw the ladder, saw the ladder on the side of the building, ran almost a full circle around 5 or 6 buildings to come all the way back on a second lap just to decide to grab that ladder just so we could make sure we grabbed that ladder. So we weren't forced and had time to discuss how we're going to grab the ladder. Whatever, we lose the guards long enough to move on to catch the ladder. Well, we climb up, and then we proceed to start figuring out where to go from there. Well, of course, one of our characters happens to be a giant, or some variation of the giant. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's very loosely based, but whatever. He was super tall. He was a super tall race of something. And this gentleman happens to be seen, I'm guessing, from space, because one guard happens to decide, it's a beautiful day outside. Let's look up and see the pretty, pretty sky. Hey, that's the head of one of the guys we're looking for. Fantastic. So we're spotted. They immediately start chasing us through, some of them climb up the rope to get, or the ladder to get to the rooftop. Sorry, I get frazzled and forget things. They climb up the ladder to get to where we are to chase us on the roofs. Meanwhile, some other guards stay below just in case we get the fascinating idea to somehow get down, even though the rooftop was so high that if we landed in any way, shape, or form without a dexterity, natural 20, we're going to break every bone in our body. But that's fine. Yeah, no, we're definitely going to hop off this. Well, moving on, we start taking off across the rooftops of the city, and we find ourselves over, I'm guessing, the third biggest building, because this guy just enjoyed describing everything as large. Over the third biggest building in the city, which is old and run down and abandoned. And basically, all we know is that there is a lot of guards chasing us everywhere. And as we decide, well, screw it, we got to take our chances, we run across the roof of the large old abandoned building. Well, as you would probably expect if you're familiar with D&Ds or, any kind of situation like tabletop RPG, you're going to figure out pretty quickly that the roof, of course, is going to cave in on, not cave in, but collapse under the weight of at least one of you. Well, not exactly. Took the whole party with us, and we all fell in. None of the guards felt brave enough to jump down to get us, and somehow the doors were automatically boarded up because it was so abandoned that they had to close it down by force. So, that bought us time from the guards on the ground and the guards on the roof. So, we start looking around, panicking, trying to figure out what's going on and what to do in this situation, because we clearly don't have a lot of time as they're beating down the door and it's breaking the nails loose out of every board that's been slammed across the door to keep it in place. And the guards, we hear shouting about something about a rope or something to get down to us, but luckily the guards decide they don't want to be the only one down there with us, because then they're pretty sure we could take them. Because the hole was big enough to take all of us, yet somehow small enough to only allow one guard in at a time. Stupid, but again, after all the shenanigans that led me there in my character's life story so far, I'm not complaining. So here's where it gets very shifty once again on the part of the DM. We end up getting to a place in that building where it's just open and abandonedness. There were some boxes here and there, some crates, some, old, I guess, equipment. He didn't exactly specify what equipment, which made it even fishier. But the only thing we could see in this room was a chest. A chest that we opened because, why not? We can't figure out any other way to get out, so we decided, screw it. Let's see what's in the chest. Maybe it could be something to save us. We open the chest, and it happens to be exactly enough vials of a mystery, unlabeled potion for each person in the party to have one. Now, of course, anybody that's familiar with a tabletop RPG can sit here and look and go, hey, I think I know something's going wrong. What should we do? Should we drink it? Shouldn't we drink it? Should we check to figure out what it is? Should we do anything other than just drink it or walk away from it? Well, apparently our DM has never heard of the concept of player choice, because he describes it as we open the chest to receive enough vials for everybody to get one. To gather one vial, and makes us all chug it immediately. Well, of course, this is part of the DM's decision to, get us all to the same place and get us out of the situation that he himself had written us into, that oh-so-tight, confined little corner that he slapped us in, that he couldn't figure out a way to get us out of, and neither could we. There was literally no escape. But the quicker version to continue on from this is basically we all wake up in a field somewhere because this potion was apparently a teleportation potion left in a chest by an old wizard that knew everything about our lives. In fact, you might as well have called him a freaking time lord. And if those of you who don't know what that is, go watch Doctor Who. It's not that bad. Yeah, it's a little nerdy, but it's still amazing. And for those of you who do know what it is, thank you. Moving on, though, this wizard was basically a Time Lord, and he had the option to save us. He knew exactly where we would be as the heroes of the story, quote, quote. He knew exactly where we would be and when. He decided to place that chest with those potions in there to get us to where he needed us to go. And this old wizard of time happened to be the DM. He made himself a character. I guess that's normal. Not knowing, again, sure, why not? I still don't know if that's actually a normal thing or not, but we'll go from there and say that it is, just to accept the situation. So the part that is screwing with me is the fact of how we all drank the potion, given no choice to do so otherwise, to do anything else otherwise, to walk away, to put it in our inventory, to save it for later, to huck it, to drink it, or to put it in the take all the vials, put it in our inventory, and save it for later. Or to inspect it, anything other than just, you see the chest, you open the chest, there's enough potions for everybody, you drink them, you black out, and you wake up somewhere else. I cannot remember the description of the place we woke up, but this old voice, the old wizard's voice, not a physical form, just his voice, decided to tell us what had happened. Well, of course, everybody wakes up, from the potion because we blacked out, we went unconscious, so we could be manipulated to go wherever we need to go. Yeah, except me. I did not get to wake up. Didn't have a choice, didn't get to roll the save, nothing. None of us had to roll to wake up. They just woke up. I didn't get a choice. I stayed unconscious. Meanwhile, in the real world, there is a homeless gentleman that has come through, and I don't normally judge people, but this dude was creepy as a mother. Yeah. And he just had this vibe about him that basically screamed, I might stab you in the parking lot. Just because I thought of the word spoons. You can laugh at that if you want to. I genuinely got a very disturbing vibe off of this vagrant gentleman. Meanwhile, he's looking in the window, happens to see us playing D&D, runs almost 3 miles to get to where he can find an entrance to the building, finds a way in, comes in and asks the DM if he can play. And the DM's like, yeah, sure, why not? And again, I'm fine with new players, more players, bring it on. Maybe maybe this guy is going to be treated worse than I am since people don't know him at all. Thinking, okay, maybe the heat will be taken off me. No, not quite. When making the character, he was asked, does your character have any quirks or anything unique to them? Or do you have any questions? He says, I have no idea what quirks are, but I have one question. The DM gingerly looks at this gentleman and says, what's your question, my friend? The vagrant, in real life, by the way, looks him dead in the eyes and asks, how many heads can my bag carry? Yeah. The video didn't just cut off or cut short. The video is still playing. I just wanted to give you a brief moment to rehear that out loud. How many heads can my bag carry? Sure, why not? Well, we get there, and he makes his character, and he's just, instead of having to go through the whole situation to end up where we were, oh look, there is a mysterious stranger that appears next to you. No idea of why or how he got there, but he's there now and he seems friendly. Great. Everybody wakes up, hears the voice. I hear nothing because I'm still unconscious without the option to save from it. And, we go from there. Everybody's happy, moving along, checking their wounds, checking their inventory, discussing plans. Meanwhile, I'm unconscious on the ground. Everyone chooses to ignore my existence and leaves me on the ground unconscious. Fantastic. And once that encounter is over, which is not an encounter, it's just the scene. Once that scene, is over, he decides, hey, we've got to go back into town to go to the library so we can get a potion for this guy. That's the DM telling us that you guys need to manage to find a way to get back into the town to get a potion, to get an alchemist book, and to learn a potion that can wake me up from a cryostasis situation, a time paralysis spell. Not even a spell, just a time paralysis effect of a potion I was forced to drink. So, here's where things get funny. They only have enough material amongst all of them to make everybody in the group a disguise except for the Vagrant's character, which is, I think he was a Tefling? I don't know, because he thought demons were cool. He made like a Tefling, I don't know, Tefling warlock something, I don't know, anything that could be construed to death was this gentleman's choice, which I can accept that, but what follows next, I can't. The group makes a disguise for everybody that they can, except for the newly found Vagrant player and myself, because what's the point in disguising my happy... What's the point in disguising me if I'm unconscious? So they decided to let the Vagrant character watch over me in a cart in the woods outside of the city. Or the town, whatever. And to make a long story short, the Vagrant character asks them before they get out of earshot, hey, can I have this guy's stuff? Referring to me, and the DM, without even thinking of a dice situation, just goes, yeah, you can have it. So I'm unconscious, weapon and armorless. This guy's got extra stuff that nobody else has, and he can't even use it. It's at this point that I said, you know what, since this is clearly rigged, I'm done. You can't quit. You're in the middle of a campaign. Oh no, see, I have chosen to be an elf, a race that has, far long been known for its spiritual abilities. And I've decided that my spiritual form is going to take control of my physical body long enough to snap my own neck. I'm out. I wash my hands of this. I quit. So I get mad, rip up my character sheet, and walk away. I then proceed to do something incredibly stupid, which I can't legally tell you what I did, but let's just say somebody had a hard time driving home. So that's the end of that story and the unfortunate adventures of my group. So balls and bayonets can kiss my balls and my bulging bayonet. With that story out, I'm done, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this tale of bull crappery or whatever, because people seem to take joy out of my misery. Figured might as well share it with the world. And if you find this, feel free to give a like, thumbs up, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't do YouTube crap. I'm trying here. This is the start of something. And, subscribe, click the notification icon. I don't know. I'm just trying to repeat crap I've seen on YouTube videos. But that's all for now. And hopefully if you liked this, I'll be able to tell you all more stories of my homebrew, in which I don't plan on screwing over every single person that's in the group, despite them trying to challenge me. So with that being said, have a good night, guys. Laters.